Hello everyone, welcome to today's program. I am your old friend Li Muyang. At the just concluded Beijing 2 sessions, the authorities loudly called for boosting consumption, and the government work report proposed for the first time the implementation of an income growth plan for urban and rural residents. The slogans sound so appealing, yet the actual policies that have been rolled out are chilling. The government report announced that the per capita fiscal subsidy for urban and rural residents' medical insurance will be increased by 24 yuan. What does 24 yuan mean? In today's second-tier cities on the mainland, this amount is probably only enough to buy 2 jin of pork or to order the cheapest takeout. But behind this 24 yuan favor, countless farmers are experiencing a silent retreat, the wave of insurance cancellations. Not long ago, this system known as the New Rural Cooperative Medical Scheme was the last sense of security in the hearts of farmers. When it was first piloted in 2003, individuals only needed to pay 10 yuan. At that time, those 10 yuan were truly for saving lives. But more than 20 years later, this figure has increased a full 100-fold. Although the authorities have been vigorously denying it, the cold, hard statistical bulletins do not lie. From 2020 to 2025, in just 6 years, the number of participants in urban and rural residents' medical insurance has decreased by more than 80 million people. According to the Chinese Communist Party's annual statistical communique on national economic and social development, in 2019, the number of urban and rural residents' medical insurance participants reached its peak, crossing the 1 billion mark. But since 2020, a wave of cancellations has emerged. In 2020 and 2021, the number dropped by about 8 million each year. In 2022, it fell by more than 25 million. In 2023, by more than 20 million. In 2024, by nearly 16 million. And in 2025, by 5 million. That is to say, over 6 years, the total reduction exceeds 82 million people. It is evident that the wave of urban and rural residents' medical insurance cancellations has arrived with tremendous force. The departure of these 80 million people is not because their bodies have become stronger, but because they cannot afford to get sick, and even more so, cannot afford the insurance. Over these more than 20 years, by how much has farmers' income actually grown? According to official data from 2003 to 2023, over 20 years, the average annual growth rate of farmers' per capita net income was 8%, while individual insurance premiums increased 37 times, with an average annual growth of 20%. A world of difference. What is even more chilling is that the government's share of health expenditure has been declining year after year, while the burden on individuals has become heavier and heavier. In 2003, individuals paid 10 yuan, and the total fiscal subsidy was 20 yuan. By 2024, individuals paid 400 yuan, and the fiscal subsidy standard was 670 yuan. Faced with the wave of cancellations, the authorities in 2025 suspended the increase in individual premiums and simultaneously raised the fiscal subsidy for medical insurance. The fiscal subsidy increased by 30 yuan in 2025 and by 24 yuan in 2026, bringing the per capita fiscal subsidy standard to 724 yuan. In developed countries such as Europe, the United States, and Japan, medical expenses are primarily borne by the government and society, with individuals usually contributing only about 10%. For example, in 2020, in the United States, Japan, and European countries, the proportion of personal expenditure in total medical and health spending generally ranged from 9% to 15%, while in China it was as high as 34.8%. Imagine an elderly farmer in his 60s in a remote village. He receives only 163 yuan in pension per month, less than 2,000 yuan for the entire year. According to the 2024 individual premium standard, he is required to pay 400 yuan for medical insurance. After that, will he still have enough money left to buy rice, flour, oil, and salt? Moreover, even if he pays the 400 yuan, the medical insurance is not comprehensive. Many items are not reimbursable, and even reimbursable items have proportion limits. Low-income farmers can only make the most helpless choice: stop paying and cancel the insurance. For them, this is not insurance. It is bloodletting. Faced with the sweeping wave of insurance cancellations, experts are not unaware of the problem. Professor Li Ling of Peking University has spoken bluntly. The current medical insurance system is a false fairness based on egalitarianism. The rich and the poor pay the same amount, but the resources they enjoy are vastly different. At the two sessions, a representative even put forward a humble suggestion that touches the dust. Could rural medical insurance be changed to a savings-type system? If one does not get sick this year, could the money be saved for the farmers? What a kind and heartbreaking suggestion. But in the eyes of power, once money enters the pocket, there is no reason to return it. The existing medical interest structure has already become rigid. High-quality resources are tilted toward the high-level cadre wards within the system, while the groans from the bottom are often drowned out in the false prosperity of universal medical insurance coverage. On the mainland, medical resources are not allocated according to the severity of the illness, but to a large extent according to administrative rank. Cadre wards are an open secret. They consist of single rooms or suites equipped with living rooms, kitchens, and even rooms for family caregivers. Such spaces with low bed turnover and high maintenance costs are themselves a huge idle waste of fiscal assets. The medical expenses of retired cadres even account for a considerable proportion of local medical insurance funds. A large amount of high-quality medical budgets, cadre wards, imported equipment, and expensive drugs are prioritized for senior cadres within the system, while ordinary citizens are scrambling to raise funds for tens of thousands of yuan in chemotherapy drugs. Some senior cadres enjoy nearly 100% reimbursement rates or even lifelong free special care. This strictly hierarchical medical welfare system is a microcosm of class solidification under the dual-track system. Because the fiscal budget is fixed, when a large portion of the medical budget is locked into the privilege system serving a small number of senior cadres, rural areas can only be given extremely low reimbursement rates. Essentially, this is because the money has been prioritized for allocation to the top of the pyramid. The consequence is that ordinary people face the situation of not daring to see a doctor when sick and not being able to afford serious illness, with the problem of poverty caused by illness widespread everywhere, while high-level personnel within the system may, at the end of their lives, use extremely expensive life-sustaining measures, such as staying long-term in high-level wards, consuming millions or even tens of millions of yuan in fiscal funds. When we turn our gaze across the strait to Taiwan, we see a completely different underlying tone of life. In Taiwan, if you ask the public which system they are most satisfied with, national health insurance is always ranked first. This is not only because it saves money, but also because of the dignity and equality written into the bones. Taiwan's national health insurance is true universal coverage. It makes no distinction based on occupation, household registration, or wealth. Whether it is a billionaire tycoon or an unemployed person living on the streets, they all hold the exact same health insurance card. Clinics are visible everywhere on the streets of Taiwan, as dense as convenience stores. People do not need to wait long to see a doctor. With the card, they can seek medical care at more than 93% of medical institutions nationwide. A visit to a clinic, including registration fee and partial co-payment, usually costs only 150 to 200 new Taiwan dollars, about 35 to 40 RMB, which covers the consultation and several days of medication. If unfortunately diagnosed with serious illnesses such as cancer, the National Health Insurance issues a catastrophic illness card, exempting most out-of-pocket expenses. Those sky-high medical costs that could destroy a family are basically borne by the government and society, truly ending the root cause of poverty caused by illness. According to authoritative survey data, Taiwanese satisfaction with the National Health Insurance system once reached as high as 80%, a miraculous number in a pluralistic society. What are the characteristics of a good medical insurance system? Every ordinary citizen can answer, spend less money, get more treatment, and everyone can enjoy it. You can choose any hospital. Since Taiwan implemented national health insurance in 1995, coverage has reached 99% of the population, whether in cities or rural areas. Premiums do not consider health history or age, but are paid according to individual income. They are shared by employers, the government, and individuals, with roughly 6 major categories. First, civil servants and employees. Premiums are borne 3 versus 6 vs 1 by the individual, the unit, and the government. Second, members of occupational unions and foreign hired crew members. The individual and the government pay 6 versus 4. Third, farmers, fishermen, etc. The ratio between the individual and the government is 3.7. Fourth, owners of private enterprises. 100% paid by the individual. Fifth, military personnel and low-income households, fully paid by the government. How much premium does an individual have to pay? For office workers, it is roughly 1/40th of monthly salary. For a monthly salary of 4,000, the premium is 100 new Taiwan dollars per month. For the unemployed, it is 600 new Taiwan dollars per month, about 136 RMB. After paying these premiums, each doctor visit only requires a registration fee of 100 to 200 new Taiwan dollars, equivalent to 20 to 40 RMB, while everything else is basically free medical care. The National Health Insurance covers everything from teeth cleaning and childbirth to dialysis and long-term hospital hospitalization, including outpatient services, dentistry, traditional Chinese medicine, laboratory tests, home nursing, prescription drugs, and preventive health care. Among the Taiwanese friends I know, there is a 70-year-old man who goes to the hospital for dialysis twice a week and has been doing so for 10 years. He still lives a normal life, and his quality of life has not declined because of the illness. Another friend's child was born prematurely and stayed in the intensive care unit for 45 days. The hospital bill should have been 500,000 new Taiwan dollars, about 100,000 RMB. If this had happened on the mainland, it would have been enough to bankrupt an ordinary family. But in Taiwan, thanks to the protection of the national health insurance, the parents only had to pay a little over 10,000 new Taiwan dollars, about 200 RMB. The National Health Insurance System mandates that employers pay premiums for employees. If reported for non-payment, they face fines of 2 to 4 times the amount. Those without jobs can join through their spouse, parents, or children. Those who are unemployed and cannot depend on others can apply for insurance at the local city, town, or township office with their household registration certificate. Such institutional design ensures the universality of health insurance. The government uses big data to centrally control medical expenditures, with administrative costs accounting for only about 1% of total expenditures. Extremely high efficiency. There is a professor who retired from a university in the United States. He chose to leave his children and grandchildren and return to Taiwan for retirement. He told his friends, "Taiwan's national health insurance is great. When you get old and have many illnesses, you still don't have the burden of seeing a doctor." This is why Taiwan's national health insurance has been rated as the world's second-best health welfare system, second only to Switzerland. Its core logic is not revenue generation, but mutual assistance. Premiums are tiered according to income. The rich pay more, the poor pay less, or even nothing. But the reimbursement ratio is equal for everyone. In China, medical insurance reimbursement cannot be used across regions. If you live in Shaanxi and go to Beijing for treatment, your reimbursement rate will be reduced, revealing a terrifying regional discrimination. In Taiwan, however, people can freely choose hospitals. Taiwan does not implement a referral system. Citizens can use their health insurance card to freely select any hospital. Hospitals are roughly divided into 4 levels: medical centers, regional hospitals, district hospitals, and primary clinics. Citizens choose the nearest hospital according to their condition, which is very convenient. All levels of hospitals settle accounts with the National Health Insurance Administration based on medical records. No matter how the accounts between hospitals and the National Health Insurance Administration are calculated, ordinary people can freely choose hospitals and receive almost free medical care with their card, a system that has remained unchanged for more than a decade. Comparing both sides of the strait, on one side is a dual-track system where premiums have skyrocketed 40-fold, yet coverage is full of holes like a sieve. On the other side is a universal national health insurance that coordinates the overall situation and puts life first. The wave of insurance cancellations on the mainland is actually the most tragic voting with their feet by the people. When medical care is no longer a shelter from the storm, but has become a heavy tax burden. When life-saving medicine has turned into a special privilege supplied by power. When farmers with an annual income of less than 2,000 yuan are forced to pay 400 yuan for medical insurance. Canceling the insurance has become their final, silent protest against this system. Thank you for watching today's program. If you feel that this video has revealed the truth you care about, please like, subscribe, and share.